Hey, Midnight Breaker, welcome. Hey, Snugglumpicus, welcome. Hey, Alex. Hey, Jackie, and hey, Nala, and hey, Phoenix. Nice seeing you guys. So before... Hello, Armoney. Not much. What's up with you? So you guys, don't know this because you guys have never actually seen what my phone looks like. But these are parts of my phone case. They're not on my phone right now, and there's a reason for that. Oh, and this is also part of the case. It's, seen better days. Trust me, it was not ripping apart like this when I first got it. But the charger I have right here, the part around the charger is too big to fit through this bottom part right here. So that's why now whenever I have to charge my phone, I have to remove the case, and whenever I'm done charging it, I have to put the case back on. So I just thought I'd share that little factoid with you. Also, hi, Rose. No, I don't watch that. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Hey, Lucy. Here, Lucy. Come here. Come on. My dog doesn't love me. Anyway, last weekend, I promised that I'd make it up to you guys by reading a fan fiction that I was going to read last week on Saturday. And now I'm going to read it. This is a Gorillaz fan fiction. It's my first Gorillaz fanfic, actually. It's called Noodle. Hey, Parker. Welcome. So good to see you. And this story takes place around the time Noodle first came to Kong Studios. I know there are a dozen interpretations of that story. Bye, Armoney. Nice having you here. Of that fan fiction there's a dozen interpretations of that story out there on the fanfiction.net, but I wanted to do my version. So that's what I'm going to read to you. Now, I'm going to read the chapters that I have so far, and that's chapters 1, 2, and 3. And I might do a little art while I do this. So just I hope you like the fanfic, and make sure to tell me what you think. Alright, I'm a bit nervous, so forgive me if I mess up. Chapter 1, Needing a Guitarist. Kong Studios, the home of 3 men looking to be a band. The 3 men are named Murdoch Nichols, Stuart Pott, but you can call him 2D, and Russell Hobbs. This all started when Murdoch crashed into Uncle Norm's keyboard emporium and knocked 2D unconscious. It also made his eye turn black, and we're not talking a shiner type of black eye. No, his eye was literally black inside. One might assume he had no eye at all. And since Murdoch was deservedly arrested for that incident, he had to look after the catatonic Stuart. But obviously Murdoch was careless, and as such got into a second car accident that, while luckily brought Stuart out of his vegetable state, it also damaged his other eye. Hence, Murdoch dubbed him 2D because of the iconic 2 dents in his head. Clever maybe, but still quite rude. We'll see, of course, but his vision is a tad blurry. Now, despite his vision not being the best, 2D can sing really well. That is one of the reasons why Murdoch placed him as the front man of the band. The working title of their band was Gorilla, but Murdoch still felt like that wasn't right. It was missing something. Actually, a lot of things were missing something. The band itself was missing a guitarist, and 2D was missing his ex-girlfriend, Paula Cracker. Unfortunately, those two events tied into each other horribly, because up until last week, Paula was the guitarist for the band, and 2D loved her very much. He was loopy over her. That is, until she cheated on him. Russell caught Paula and Murdoch having relations in one of the cubicles of Kong Studios, and it was disgusting, not to mention that Russell is 2D's best friend. So naturally, Russell grew very angry at Murdoch and Paula, so much so that he broke Murdoch's nose in 5 places. Now his nose already looked strange before due to already being broken several times, but now it just looked too ridiculous. Needless to say, Paula was let go, and 2D was heartbroken. Murdoch kept insisting he did the blue-haired man a favor, saying that Paula was ugly and rubbish, but 2D didn't care, and he didn't believe him either, because if Murdoch really believed that, then he wouldn't have had sex with her. Now 2D was laying in bed, his face down into the pillow. If someone could see his eyes right now, they'd see that they were really red around the rims, and his cheeks were also horribly stained with dry tears. He only occasionally made whimper noises, and it hurt the back of his throat when he made them. He finally lifted his head and looked down at his moist, tear-stained pillow. He wiped his nose, which was red, and sobbed lightly. However, 2D was tired of crying. He also hadn't eaten in 2 days, so he was very hungry. Welp, no point in moping any longer. He had to eat in order to have energy for recording songs. As the frontman, he had to be up at the ready whenever Murdoch needed him. Even though 2D hasn't been speaking to Murdoch since the Paula incident, he still comes when he's called. Like a dog. In the kitchen, 2D slumpily entered the kitchen and was sort of but not really surprised to see Murdoch in the kitchen. Shirtless, only wearing jeans, his hair was greasy and black, his skin was a tan yellow color with a green hue. Pulling a disgusted pout, 2D pretended Murdoch did not exist and slipped by him. Murdoch looked up and saw 2D open the fridge door. He pulled out a turkey container, mustard, and lettuce. Then he set it on the counter and reached for the bread. Murdoch growled lowly at 2D. He knew the black-eyed singer was giving him the silent treatment. Not that he minded not hearing him talk, but there was still something about this silence that set him on the edge. Any sign of defiance towards him made him want to beat the tar out of someone. I don't think anyone uses that phrase anymore. Hello, Creative Art Twist, welcome. And yes, Queen Nemmer, I am reading a fanfiction that I made. Also, welcome. Hello, Lemon Tart Animation, sorry. Murdoch still had band-aids on his sore nose. He wanted it to heal as fast as possible because reapplying medicine and bandages to it was irritating, and Murdoch hated being annoyed, and everyone else hated seeing him annoyed too, but they usually paid for it. After making a sloppy turkey sandwich, 2D sighed a depressed sigh and returned all the ingredients to their proper places. He thought about just leaving them out, but then retreated the thought so that the food wouldn't spoil. 2D took a bite of his sandwich and started to exit the kitchen. Just then he felt a sharp pain in the back of his already sore skull. He didn't cry out in pain, but it still hurt. Turning around, he saw, of course, Murdoch huffing in anger at him. Both men said nothing to each other, but continued to ogle one another. 2D looked down at the shoe on the floor. It was obvious now what Murdoch hit him with. A shoe. Not finding anything else better to do, 2D lightly kicked the shoe aside for no reason and exited the kitchen. As he made his way back to his bedroom, he spotted a large silhouette in the hall. It was obviously Russell, but 2D pretended to be surprised to see him. Oh, hi, Russ, the blue-haired man greeted him. 2D's voice was high-pitched, but just an ounce of deepness was in it. It also held a tiny but natural rasp, although his rasp was much more prominent because of his raw throat. Crying does do that to a person's throat, but especially 2D. He'd always had bad sore throats when he got them, and they were much worse during his childhood. Yo, D, the black man greeted back. Sandwich? 2D looked down at his sloppy excuse for a meal and shrugged. He took another bite of it. I heard a thunk sound in the kitchen. Did Muds hit you again? Russell continued. 2D merely shrugged again and swallowed. It's a routine. What can you do? Russell hummed, and with his deep, ghostly-sounding voice, it sounded more like the rumble of someone's stomach. It would send chills down anyone's spine if they heard it. 2D felt the back of his head fizzle as the chills spread from the bottom of his spine to the very top and beyond. "I'm turning in," the singer said, wanting to be left alone. As he walked past Russell, the aforementioned drummer grabbed 2D's scrawny arm, holding him in place for a while. 2D's black eyes widened for a brief second before going back to normal. What was Russ gonna do? A hug? An apology for something that wasn't even his fault? Russell took in a deep breath and sighed. That was all he ever did. He knew nothing he said or did would magically make 2D feel better. He had to heal on his own. And knowing how fragile and breakable the blue-haired singer was, it was probably going to take a while before he was all better. Hey, Gaming Profile. Welcome. Hello, Franz Esriel. Thanks, Russ, for trying. Appreciate it. 2D spoke softly. Then he made his way into his room. He was going to watch a zombie movie because he loved them very much. And also, he hadn't watched any in quite some time. Probably doesn't help that he had his head down in a pillow for days and could only see black. Blurry black, but still. As he watched the intro to the movie, he took bites of his sandwich, which he chewed very slowly. Painfully slowly. 2D didn't see it, and he wouldn't until morning, but a folded-up envelope slid into his room from under the door. It had grisly handwriting on it, so it was from Murdoch, and it said face ache on it, definitely from Murdoch Nichols. Only he addressed 2D with that nickname. 2D finished the sandwich. Some mustard had spread on his bony, bruised fingers, but he just carelessly licked it off. The tangy, bitter taste soothed him a little, but only a little, and his black eyes were still burning. Now that he was feeling a little better, he decided to take a bath. But tomorrow, he was tired and wanted to sleep now. Meanwhile, outside, a large man was carrying a FedEx crate. It was pretty big and kind of heavy. He had no clue what was in it, but it was against his orders to tamper with the mail, so he didn't look. He lugged the crate up the hill and onto the hill. Sighing out a sigh of relief, he wiped the sweat from his brow. He knocked twice on the door, then turned to leave. Somehow that knocking sound woke up whatever was in the crate. The small being who was just curled up like a cat and sleeping was now stirring in place and waking up. She yawned and rubbed her eyes to get the crust out of them. Nani ga okote imasu ka? The tiny child mumbled. Suddenly she heard the sound of a door opening, and it startled her. She peered through the slits of the boards that made up the crate she was in. She could faintly see a palish yellow man with only jeans on standing outside. He whipped his head around, looking for whatever knocked. He saw nobody, but then laid his eyes, one red and one black, on the crate. Hello, Jen. It's been a while since you've been on my streams. Nice to see you. Murdoch stared at the crate for a good 10 seconds before awkwardly turning his head around and opening his mouth. Russ, 2D, you two better get the hell out here. And that's the end of chapter 1. What did you guys think? Did you like it or did you not like it? Thank you, Queen Nemmer. I'm glad you liked it. Oh. Thanks, Parker. I'm glad you think so. Thank you, Jada. I don't know. I just couldn't wait to do it. I was impatient. Yeah, I'm sure he would. Diamond the Werewolf. Welcome to the stream, Diamond the Werewolf. Well, I'm going to take a break from that, and I'm going to work on my art a little bit. I reached down to grab my drawing case, and it's way over there. My foot is numb. I hate it. Hi, Goo Goo. Who's a good Goo Goo? Who's a good Goo Goo? Oh, do. Ew, don't lick me. Your breath smells. Truer words were never spoken, Diamond. Oh, whoopsies. Don't step on my computer. If you break that, my mom's gonna have to pay a fine, and she's already having enough money problems as it is. Lust Sans 10. Welcome. A FNAF fanfiction. I haven't read much of those. There doesn't tend to be very good FNAF fanfictions. But I do like FNAF. Okay guys, I'm gonna give you the 411 update on my comic. I'm definitely going to have to split it into at least 3 or 4 parts. Chapter 4 is gonna be split into at least 3 or 4 parts. I'm trying to aim for 3 so I don't have to have you guys wait as long. But I only have a few more pages left to color, then I'll be ready to edit all the pages together into a video, and then I'll be able to post it. So I think it's probably going to be done by either the beginning, like at the beginning of October. I can't make any guarantees though. I'm a senior in high school, and being a senior is already busy enough. But like I said, my mom is pregnant and she needs a lot of help. She's having a very hard time moving around, and it's only going to get worse from there. So just be aware, my life consumes my time, so I can't make any 100% guarantees. But I'm going to try my best. Yeah, I'll read it. Okay. So far oh, bye. That's good. You're a senior too. This is the page I'm coloring so far. It basically reads, Splendid is saying, if I let you go with me, I'd be putting an innocent miner's life at risk. And I can't do that, especially not to you lambs, okay? Yeah, basically Lammy, they figured out where Flickby took Flaky, and Lammy is excited to go and rescue Flaky, but Splendid is worried that Flippy will still be flipped out when they get there, and while Splendid will be perfectly alright on his own, Lammy would get ripped to frickin' shreds. And he really cares for Lammy, because she reminds him of his sister who he lost 20 years ago. So he's trying to convince her that she should stay behind again while he tries to rescue her. And while she is reluctant to stay behind, he's trying his best to convince her anyway. Bye, Lust Sans 10. Honestly, some of these usernames make me think that, am I seriously just surrounded by a bunch of 12-year-olds? Not that there's anything wrong with that. So guys, today I was watching something that I haven't watched or even thought about in quite a while actually. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a Yuri anime. It came out in winter 2014. It's called Sakura Trick. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. But I used to watch it back when I was a crazy, crazy anime fan. Now I just like it at a normal level, but I don't watch it as much as I used to. Hmm. Well, I'll be 19 in September of next year. Also, guys, another thing. I don't know if you guys know this, but did you guys ever watch a channel called PBS Kids? And if you did you ever watch or at least hear about a show called Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? Have you guys ever at least heard of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was a show on PBS Kids. It was about a man named Mr. Rogers, and he lived in a neighborhood and he taught many lessons to children. He taught about divorce, violence and shooting, and feelings. Oh, yeah, I actually watched shows on Cubo too. But back to Mr. Rogers. Okay, so 51 years ago, on this very day, the first episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood aired. So today is the 51st anniversary of that show. Pretty impressive, huh? I mean, Mr. Rogers is no longer with us. He died like 15 years ago of stomach cancer. But still, the lessons he taught are still remembered by all of us today. My mom my mom hates Cartoon Network, and when I was a kid, she kind of implanted her opinions about Cartoon Network into my brain, and that made me think that all cartoons on Cartoon Network were really, really bad and really stupid. The reason why my mom doesn't like Cartoon Network is because there's nothing educational on it, and it doesn't teach kids anything except how to be stupid. And I'm just like trying to tell her, not everything has to be educational. Can't we just have a network for cartoons where kids can learn, where kids can just laugh and goof around and have a good time? And she's just like, of course, but there are 500 other things in the world and on TV that can make them laugh and have a good time. All Cartoon Network shows do are teach kids how to be stupid. At least that's what she says. My mom didn't let me watch the Powerpuff Girls because she said that the Powerpuff Girls were just a bunch of little brats. I mean, I agree that Buttercup is a little bratty, but there's always got to be at least one in the bunch. But, no. I don't feel that way about Cartoon Network. I just don't. I just didn't really think it was right for my mom to just implant her opinions into my brain like that. Yeah, my mom is kind of nuts. But she helped me become the woman I am today, so of course I love her. My mom didn't let me watch Ed, Edd and Eddy because she thought it was really dumb and stupid and that it killed brain cells and all it did was teach kids how to be stupid. I didn't really watch a whole lot of Ed, Edd and Eddy. From what I saw, yeah, it was kind of goofy looking, but I don't really remember anything bad from it. The animation was kind of sloppy, though. I think the only show my mom never complained about on Cartoon Network, if I was watching it, was Dexter's Laboratory. My mom didn't let me watch Johnny Bravo because, again, she thought it would just teach me to be stupid. She said I didn't really miss out on anything because there were lots of other things that made me laugh, so it doesn't really matter if I didn't see stuff on Cartoon Network. Yeah, I kind of watched Chowder too. I didn't really like it all that much, but there were some good parts to it. I didn't really understand what it was about, but the animation was very colorful and it seemed to have texture to it, so that's a good thing. My mom also doesn't like Steven Universe because she says it's weird because there's a kid in it who has a gemstone on his belly button, and she thinks that's really, really weird and really gross in a way. She also says that it glamorizes things too much. I honestly don't get what the fuck she's talking about. But her opinions are her opinions, but that doesn't mean that they automatically have to become mine. And that was my problem as a kid. When I was a kid, I used to get picked on all the time because I still watched things like Dora, even in the 6th and 7th grade. People would always make fun of me because I talked bad stuff about Cartoon Network shows. But the only reason why I talked bad stuff about Cartoon Network shows was because that's what my mom told me. And when you're a kid, you think your parents are always right because they're your parents. But now I know that what my mom was saying wasn't right. It was just her opinion. And now I realize that her opinions don't have to become my own just because I'm her daughter. Hey, Tom. Ah, crap. What the? Never seen that effect before. My mom doesn't want me. My mom doesn't want me watching adult cartoons. Like, she doesn't want me watching Rick and Morty. I mean, I know. I'm still living under my mom's roof. And even though I'm 18, as long as I live under her roof, I have to abide by her rules. But I think that it's a little bit unfair that nothing has changed since I was a kid. She still tells me what to do. She still gives me limitations on what I can and cannot do. And it's just kind of unfair, you know? Even if I am living under her roof, it's like I don't have anywhere else to go at the moment. I don't have anywhere else to go at the moment. But I still want to have a little more freedom to make choices. Like, if I want to watch an adult cartoon, then yeah, I want to watch an adult cartoon. I won't watch it with my sister in the room, but if I want to watch it, then I want to watch it. If I want to, do stuff like this, then fine. I'm not just your Barbie doll that you can play with and dress up and design how you want. I'm a person with thoughts and feelings of my own. You can't just automatically decide that this is how you want me to be and this is what you don't want me to do. Yeah, I know. I'm legally an adult, but technically I'm still in my teens. I'm 18, but still. I just feel like nothing has changed. I'm still a kid. Sorry about that, guys. I mean, I'm not saying that my mom raised me really bad, but still. She kind of implanted things in my brain that I didn't even know what I was talking about. Yeah, fucking autism always ruins everything. I'm a Jen, nothing you're saying is making any sense. Yeah, I have autism. I have a form of autism. It's called Asperger syndrome. Asperger. Doctors used to think of Asperger's as a separate condition, but in 2013, the newest edition of the standard book that mental health experts use, called the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, changed how it's classified. The symptoms, they start early in life. If you're a mom or dad of a kid who has it, you may notice that they can't make eye contact. You may also find that your child seems awkward in social situations and doesn't know what to say or how to respond when someone talks to them. They may miss social cues that are obvious to other folks, like body language or the expressions on people's faces. For instance, they may not realize when someone crosses their arms and scowls, they are angry. Another sign is that your child may show few emotions. They may not smile when they're happy or laugh at a joke, or they may speak in a flat, robotic kind of way. If your child has the condition, they may talk about themselves most of the time and zero in with a lot of intensity on a single subject, like rocks or football stats. And they may repeat themselves a lot, especially on a topic that they're interested in. They might also do the same movements over and over again. They may dislike change. For instance, they may eat the same food for breakfast every day or have trouble moving from one class to another during the school day. Yeah, you might have seen that I express and display some of these symptoms. Anyway, I want to. Have you guys noticed any of those behaviors on me? You probably have. Like, you might notice how I only draw one certain character, or I seem to be interested in only one thing at a time. You can get your autism and your Asperger syndrome under control. It takes time, effort, and, of course, thinking. But you can at least decrease it to a minimum so you can appear more normal, I guess you'd say. Also, another problem I have is that I have a hard time understanding how the real world works. Like, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other people out there who can understand things better than me, like how to balance their money and how to what is it? I guess how to understand and process information. That's another thing. My sister's fine. She's sleeping in her room right now. Anyway, I wanna. And Queen, that's actually something that happens with me too. Like, I have a hard time controlling my temper. Just, yesterday I was being picked on, only it was a little bit different this time. I used to be really big Sonic the Hedgehog fan, and I still do like the series, but at a minimal level. And people at school know about my previous obsession with Sonic, how I went nuts over it, and how it would make me happy. But I guess they just take it upon themselves to bully me about it. They basically tease me by saying that Sonic isn't real, or they ask me if he is real, and whenever I walk by, I hear them whisper to each other, or stuff like, hey, why were you talking shit about Sonic? Because they know that I'm going to get triggered by it. When they say stuff like that about it to me, or not directly towards me, I get this pit in my stomach, and I feel like I want to cry, but nothing comes out. And they know that they'll get that reaction out of me. And I can't contain myself. But yesterday, um, the thing that happened was this new girl in our school. She was new and she didn't know that what she was going to say was going to offend me. But these boys basically dared her to ask me, "Is Sonic real?" Yeah? Yes, Mom. And I told the girl that I wanted to push her down and hit her and hurt her, and I called her disgusting, and I told her to leave me alone. I started crying, and then I later found out that she was set up, and then I felt extremely bad for what I had said to her and what I threatened to do to her. And I was the one who apologized first because I felt really bad. And I showed her some of my drawings, and she thought they were really good. But at least it had a happy ending. Sorry, I was talking too much. I gotta go take care of a laundry basket. Be right back. Anyway, what should I do next? Should I color another page, or do you want me to read you another chapter? I kind of want to read another chapter, but at the same time, I want you guys to be happy too. Okay, we got one vote for color a page. Anyone else? I don't know, on my end it says there are 7 people in here. Hang on. I'm gonna grab my earbuds. Thanks. Gosh. I miss talking to all of you. You guys are such awesome people. You're all my friends, and you all keep me company. Okay. Got my SoundCloud pulled up. No, I don't want to listen to a Christina Perri song. Yeah. And like I read to you guys, people with Asperger's don't typically like change. It's just, it takes me a while to accept the fact that something has changed because I'm just so used to the normal pattern of what I've become accustomed to that a sudden change is, it kind of confuses my brain and stresses me out in a way. You got a cat now? That's great. I would love to pet your cat, even though I'd probably die because I'm allergic. But, you know, despite the fact that I'm allergic, I still pet cats because they're freaking adorable as hell. Ooh, I want to listen to your reality. I imagine a future where I can be with you. Yeah. Something that I really like about my Happy Tree Friends AU is that it gives me a chance to experiment with story writing skills. Just to find that special day. I love this little hug between Lammy and Splendid on the bottom panel. And I love what he's saying to her. He says to her, I promise I will do everything in my power to save her. How can I write love into reality? When I played this song for my cousin, when it said the part, how can I write love into reality, I heard her say, oh. I think maybe it's because she kind of relates to it a bit, because I guess a lot of us feel like love is just a fantasy and love doesn't really exist. But I can tell you guys, I've seen real love. I've seen what real love is, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, gorgeous thing, and it is definitely real. Love in your reality. If I don't know how to love you, I'll leave you be. I honestly don't hate any of the characters. Monica does creep me out sometimes. Okay, more than sometimes. She creeps me out a lot. But I like how in the end she realized what she was doing to us was not love. And she even tried to make everything okay again by removing herself from the game. There's this really cool mod of Doki Doki Literature Club. Well, I've seen several cool mods actually. But it's this mod. I can't remember who made it, but it's a mod where you can actually save each of the girls, and that includes Monica. I have Bijou Mike played it. He's my go-to guy for Doki Doki Literature Club stuff, even though the first person I saw play Doki Doki Literature Club was Jacksepticeye. I love Sayori. I honestly relate to her as a character because she's very bubbly and very happy, and she's always hungry and trying to buy snacks from the vending machine before she goes to class. those are some things that I do very often myself. And she also has depression, which is something that I have also had. It's actually, my family actually has a history of depression. So I can relate to each of the girls in some way. I can relate to Yuri because what the protagonist said, she obviously finds comfort in the world of books and not people. Me, I obviously find more comfort in the world of art and the internet, not into people. And she has trouble socializing and she often feels very shy. And she feels like she's always doing something wrong. And her mind turns a light rain shower into a hurricane. That's something that my mind does too, especially under stressful situations. I can relate to Natsuki because, well, she's just the cutest little shit ever, and she often has this sour attitude towards the protagonist, who is a boy, whom she obviously likes. And I can often have sour attitudes towards men as well. Plus, she appears to have daddy issues, which I also have a bit of, considering that my dad wasn't around for most of my childhood. And I relate to Monica because all she really wants is to be happy and to matter. And I think that's something we all want in life. We just want to be happy and we want to feel like we matter in this world. But I guess she never felt like she mattered because the game kind of throws her aside, and that's why she starts interfering with the codes. And that's something that I want. All I want is to be happy and safe. And sometimes I just feel like I can't be happy. All right, welcome. Hey, Sugar Cookie. Welcome. Um, my day was all right. Had a long day. I uh I almost cried, but I wanted to keep myself from crying over something so stupid, so I tried practically strangling myself, which was dangerous. Um, what do you mean? What do you mean, just randomness? Oh, sugar cookie. I am outlining a page of my comic. My mom yells at me too, but it's my fault for not. It's my fault for not listening to her and always sitting around and doing half-assed jobs on chores. I guess I'll have to face that in this awful place I shouldn't show a trace of doubt, but pulled against the grain, I feel a little pain that I would rather do without. I'd rather be free, free, free. I can't wait to hear this song in the show. Hmm. I made it myself, just randomness. Calling the world from isolation. 'Cause right now, that's the floor where we betray. I want to listen to Kurumi Panchio. Yeah, it probably was me. And now pink for Lammy's nose. Bringing back an earlier topic, I said that people can get their autism and their Asperger's under control. And that's something that I have been doing lately because right now I'm actually interested in quite a few different things. Like, I'm interested in Game Grumps, I'm interested in Cuphead, I am interested in Gorillas, and also Happy Tree Friends. Come on, I know I have another purple. There it is. But basically, I'm doing a lot better, which I feel good about. Also, earlier, I was watching a horror movie. It's called The Fly, Maybe you've heard of it or seen it. It's I was watching the 1980s version with Jeff Goldblum, and I don't know if you know, but it's about this scientist who is trying to build these teleporter pods, which he calls telepods. And when he finally corrects the wiring in it so it can transport living objects without mutilating their tissue, yeah, he transports an animal safely, and then he tries it on himself, but a fly accidentally slips into the teleporter pod with him. And while he looks normal at first, he slowly starts to go through these weird changes. He gets a whole lot stronger, a lot more daring with intimacy, and also he gets sugar cravings too. And his personality starts to change too. And he later finds out that he became fused with a fly that got into the teleporter pod, and he slowly starts to lose his mind. It's actually kind of a sad movie as well. It's just as much sad as it is scary. Uh, okay. I wouldn't want to be fused with an animal. I already stand out enough as it is. Besides, if I had doggo paws, then I wouldn't be able to draw. But seriously, the first time I watched that movie, I only watched the ending, and after watching just the ending, any movement, any signs of slight movement terrified me. Like I was down here in my room and a little dust bunny kind of rolled over and I caught it out of the corner of my eye and it startled me. So I pretty much sharply turned around and it was like, that's how fucking scary that movie is to me. I mean, typically horror movies don't scare me, but for some reason this one was different. You know, the movie actually won an Oscar for Best Makeup. Just thinking about it is making me scared. I'm not going to think about it anymore. This scene I'm working on right now, it could kind of give off the impression that Lammy kind of has feelings for Flaky, but that's not really the case because in my alternate universe, Lammy has romantic feelings for Mime and Flaky is with Flippy. Yes, I know you hate it, but deal with it. But the reason why Lammy is so desperate on saving Flaky is not only because she's her best friend, it's also because she feels like Flaky is one of the only people that truly, truly understands her. Because you know how Lammy has a friend who is misunderstood and not what he seems. Well, Flaky is dating someone who is misunderstood and not what he seems. So that's why Flaky means very much to Flaky. Flaky means very much to Lammy, sorry. Well, I was already afraid of the dark and of falling asleep in a dark, silent room. So, for a long time, I have been falling asleep while listening to a noise, music, or possibly someone playing a game. And I have a nightlight on, so I'm less scared. Mm. Ooh, I want to listen to this one. Yeah, I do too sometimes. I actually have one of those floor lamps, and it has a really bright light. Airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars. I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Airplanes in the night sky are shooting stars. I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Yeah, I know I'm not the only one who ships them, but still, I keep thinking about the many people who say it's overrated and the people who ship it all do the exact same thing with it. Actually, I've seen some pretty diverse people do things with it. Actually, when I first got into Happy Tree Friends and I first started shipping Flippy and Flaky, I actually did not have any plans for Flippy to be part of their relationship because, he's evil and junk, even though not really, he's just misunderstood, but that's a whole nother can of worms. Um, but I actually was gonna have him be so negative towards the relationship and he would want no part of it and he would really, really hate Flaky and that would be it. But then I read this one fan fiction by Dreamy Loner called Manic Love. Spoilers, guys. It's a mature story and it contains um, intense situations, if you know what I mean. So I guess if you don't like those things, you probably don't want to read it. But it made me like the idea of Flickby also falling in love with Flaky too through some bizarre twist of fate, whether it be because he sees the goodness in her and she sees the goodness in him, or because Flippy's feelings are kind of mixing with his, or because he's just always liked her, but he, you know, I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is cute. Yeah, alright, tell us about your OC. Really? That's interesting. Hmm. Yeah, guess that is true. Ugh, I don't know why, but I've got stress pains going on. I've got stress pains. Ow. Oh gosh, Alex, why are you so. Stop being so fucking nice to me. I had an idea for an OC a while ago. I never actually got around to drawing her. Maybe I should draw her right now. I don't know, I'm kind of tired. I kind of just want to watch Sakura Trick before before I get really sleepy. It's a Happy Tree Friend OC. It's it's meant to be a bunny character. Her name is Olive and she's actually deaf. Cuz if you think about it, we have a blind character, we have a handicapped character, we have a PTSD induced soldier, we have a paranoid porcupine character, we have a whole lot of different characters, but I have never seen a character in the show who is actually deaf. God, these girls are so kawaii. Look at them. Oh, hang on. Look how cute these girls are. So cute. That is Kaede. That's Yuzu. That's Haruka. And you can't see, but that girl at the bottom, her name is Yu. Like Yuu. Like Yu-chan. That's what Haruka calls her. This anime is called Sakura Trick. I said earlier it came out in winter 2014. Okay. I told you guys about another OC of mine, another Happy Tree Friends OC of mine. His name was Donovan. Does the name ring a bell at all? Donovan. I talked about him a little bit in chat rooms, how he was Flippy's best friend, along with Mouse Kaboom and Sneaky back in the war. Um, I'm actually thinking, I was actually thinking that even though they were friends, and Donovan knew that Flippy was in love with Flaky and he wanted to be with her when he got back from the war, he knew that and he supported him, but I think that I'm going to use an idea that Donovan might have had some semi homosexual feelings for Flippy. Of course, Donovan is no longer among the living in my alternate universe. God rest his soul. But, anyway, I'm thinking that might be. Oh, oh, stop. You guys are just saying that. Anyway, the plot of this anime is Haruka and Yu are starting high school, and Haruka worries that their friendship won't be as special as it used to be because they're making new friends. So they both decide to do something with each other that they'd never do with anyone else. They kiss each other in secret and they slowly start to get romantic feelings towards each other. It's a very cute anime and it's pretty funny too. Well, thank you. I uh I really I really like hearing those things. You know, when I first got my Circus Baby poster, I was kind of scared because she kind of scares me. I just always felt like she was looking at me. That poor poster got a little ripped while it was being contained in the storage unit. I wonder if there's a store in the mall that sells a Gorillaz poster. Hmm. Oh, this is another character. This is another character. Her name is Shizuku. Now, normally she's not this happy, but she's like putting a smile because something happened earlier in the episode that kind of made her a little bit cranky. Normally she has like this flat expression on her face and she's very awkward and shy. Michael Eisner, huh? I don't know who that is. That'd be nice. You used to be jealous of me, but now you're gay for me. Well, that's nice. I've always wanted someone to be gay for me. You've definitely fulfilled that dream. Thank you. Oh, Disney. Fun fact, I was actually watching something Disney related earlier. It was the channel Fine Brothers Entertainment. They make the kids react and the teens react and the college kids react videos. They make the react videos basically. And I was watching Do Kids Know Disney Songs? And basically, what they would do is they would play a few seconds of a Disney song for the kids to see if they recognized what song it was and what movie it was from. No, don't fall, please. Ah, stop it. Stop it. Ah. Scared the shit out of me. Oh, yeah. I remember. Actually, fun fact, when I first got showed Happy Tree Friends, I didn't like it because I was a little pussy. back then. And then a few years later, when I saw it on Elders React, I actually got into it. And that's basically how I became obsessed with it. Yay, Queen's still here. Yeah, what time is it? 10:52. I don't know. I kind of want to go to sleep right now, but I also kind of want to keep the stream rolling, but I honestly don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. I'll just end off the stream and then chat with people on Amino while watching Sakura Trick. All right. Okay. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.